Hello and welcome back to Right Now, an author's platform. I am Dr. Pamela Hinkle, and we are continuing with this amazing series from all of the incredible women of power in the Women of Power Ignited to Serve Anthology. And today we have another powerhouse author with us, and someone that I have just really begun to get to know, and she's amazing. And you are going to be so blessed by all the gold nuggets that she is dropping. So I have right here my paper right here, and I've got my pen right here, and I'm going to be taking notes. So I encourage you to do the same thing. So if you guys are ready, let's jump in and welcome Jodie. Welcome. Woo! It's so good to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pamela. It's amazing to be here. I'm so happy to really discuss this book with you. Like you said, we're just getting to know one another, and through this project, we've connected with so many amazing people. So I just really appreciate you having me as a guest on your show today.
I am so excited. The feeling is mutual. Having you here as my guest is a treasure. And you are a really unique individual because you have quite the education and you've accomplished a lot of things. And you're so down to earth and just so full of wisdom. So I really want the people to get a deeper peek at who you are. So would you do us a favor and tell us, who are you?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for those kind words. That's very sweet of you to say. I feel like every time I say that I have been a therapist and a coach for over 20 years, that I don't even know how that flew by so quickly, right? It goes by so fast, but I have spent about 22 years now that I have been working therapeutically. My background is in social and clinical psychology. And when I got started, I just really wanted to help people. It's always been something that's been on my heart. It's always been my purpose to help women, to help children, to help families. And so that's where I started. I started off working with kids and teens and parents, people going through custody issues, people going through abuse, a lot of court-appointed cases, really helping families stay together as much as possible and helping people heal from trauma. And as I moved forward in my career, I started working with people who had drug and alcohol offenses, that were going through addictions, and also people that were going through chronic pain and health conditions. And so I've had lots of different kinds of experience. But what is a little unique about me is that I actually became an entrepreneur when I was in grad school. I actually started my own business, coaching and consulting for female entrepreneurs to pay off my 6 figures in student loans, which I did, which is wonderful. But I loved it. I loved working with women. And there were women who had goals, women who were really thinking about how they wanted to improve their lives, but also improve their lives for their families and really change generations. And I just had this passion for working with them, and I absolutely loved it. But I was finding that they were having some of those same challenges. They were dealing with stress. They were dealing with burning out. They were dealing with trauma and abuse that they were trying to heal from. And they were trying to help their children and change that through generations as well. And a lot of those things were coming up for them and holding them back and keeping them from reaching their goals. And so I was in my entrepreneurial journey just like they were. And we're all coming from different circumstances. But what I found is we all have so much more in common than we have that's different. And that has definitely been a major theme in my career. I know, throughout my career, I moved a lot. I'm a military wife. I take care of my mom. She had cancer starting when I was 16 and told she had 6 months to live. It's been 26 plus years and she's still here, which is amazing. But, we're all have these roles as women, right? We are partners, we're spouses, we're parents, or have aging parents that we're caring for, or both, right? We have our pets, we have our careers, we have these full lives. And so my passion was to help women really through all of those things, because there's a lot that we go through. And so when I decided I wanted to start my own private practice, this was about 3 years ago, I said, when I turned 40, I always said I wanted to have my own private practice. And thankfully, just like we are today, technology means I get to do that virtually, and I get to take care of my family and myself and be able to take care of others. And so that's why I decided to really focus my practice on women that were overcoming all of those things, helping them heal and helping them succeed.
My goodness. And you started coaching other women when did you say you were still in grad school or after grad school?
Yep, still in grad school. So it was in my early 20s. I had just started dating my now husband, who, we've been together for 21 years. So same time frame. We got together. I remember my first date with him, actually. I said, I just started a business. He was entrepreneurial. So luckily, he's always been very, very supportive of all of those things. But it was just divine timing. It truly was. I started this business, and it allowed me then to be able to move with him, because he was still active duty and, retired just a few years ago, but still travels for his own business. And so what's been incredible is through that journey that I started so many years ago, I've been able to take everything that I love with me and take that work with me. And it's really allowed me so many things, like being able to take care of and so help support my mom. Having my own business meant that I always had something to fall back on when we moved or when I needed to take time off to take care of her or take care of myself, because I had my own burnout journey along the way too. And so it's so incredible to think how long ago that was. And I had no idea at the time where that was ever going to lead. I just thought I couldn't hold a regular job because I was basically already working for free and I needed to pay off those student loans. That's literally the only thing I was thinking. But like I said, divine intervention, here I am 20 plus years later.
That's amazing. Can I ask you kind of a, off the course question here? Would that be okay with you?
Yeah.
It is in regards to you starting this consulting and coaching business 20 plus years ago. So I know you sort of already talked about it. You said you did it because you were thinking like, I need to pay off these student loans, but not every young woman, even with the grad school education, is going to feel confident or have think that they actually could coach and consult business women, entrepreneurs, business coaching, life coaching, whatever. And I'm sure you end up doing a mix of both. What was it that spurred in you that you were like, yeah, I can do that? Because again, in your 20s, you maybe haven't experienced all the what maybe other 20 somethings might think. You haven't experienced enough life yet to be able to give advice, right? And so people could think that are out there like listening right now. What was it that caused you to jump where you were like, yeah, I can so do this?
Well, that was a journey in itself for sure. I think it started when I was in high school. I actually became a student teacher. I actually was a student teacher for photography. I was a peer counselor. So there was a tragedy in my high school where one of my fellow students had passed away in an accident, and they asked me to counsel my fellow students. I had these natural gifts and abilities for, that empathy, but then also for teaching. And so I already had been put in some leadership types of positions. I also, interesting story, I had been in it's kind of like it's called FHA. I don't know if they still have it. It's like being in DECA or, debate or something like that. But it was like Future Homemakers of America. I have no idea why it was called that. There was all these different life skills they taught. Those things you don't learn in school, like how to balance a checkbook and do these different things. Well, instead of debates, I actually got all of these accolades that I had received for professional interviewing. So they were teaching you how to fill out a job application, how to do an interview, how to manage your money, and all those things, again, you don't have a regular high school class for. And so I knew I was really good at interviewing. And I was also that go-to person that, I'd have a friend whose cousin was getting married and they say, Jodie, come help us get ready. Or, help us get ready for this interview or for prom or these big things. And so I had a little bit of the image going on. I had a little bit of the interviewing part going on. And when I went into grad school, we wore suits. I was the first time, it was full on, suited up, skirt suits, heels, downtown Portland. I'm like, running around in my suit, like being a professional career woman for the first time, and not in jeans and sweats of student life. And I thought, I'm learning how to do this. I can teach other people how to do that. And it took time, believe me. I was not a natural public speaker at all. I'm pretty sure anybody I grew up with would be shocked if they hadn't seen me since then that I was doing this. But I started small, and I had to learn assertiveness in school. When I was working with those families and I was teaching parenting, you either had to be a parent or have a degree. And so it was me in my early 20s teaching other people who were sometimes a lot older than me,
wow,
how to do these things. And so, being assertive and growing in not just my inner confidence, but my outward confidence was really helpful. And so I really took all of those different skills that I had been learning and that I had naturally through the years in my teens and early 20s, and just put them into this business.
I love that, actually, like how you point back to things that were being pulled out of you even back in school, high school or middle school or any of that, that it was even being pulled out of you at that time to be a student teacher, to be helping with counseling, all those different things. So such value in pulling out the giftings in our young people. Very powerful that you draw attention to that. So for everybody that's listening or viewing, you have young people around you, like, utilize them. Find where they naturally gravitate to and pull it out of them. Look at Jodie here. She is what a textbook representation of what happens as that gift is being utilized and created. And what I'm hearing you say is, as that was happening, it was building that confidence in you, because you'd step into it and you'd use it and it worked. And somebody was like, hey, come and do this, and it worked. And so here you are stepping into it even further as a young adult, and it was already natural for you to do it and to feel successful. Not that you didn't have some of those challenges, like, oh my gosh, these people are parents, I'm not, they're way older than me or whatever, because I'm sure you had to struggle through some of that, but you already knew, I can do this. And that is so huge, isn't it? I think.
It is. And other people instilling in you that they believe in you and they believe you can do it. Because when those teachers were asking me to step up and be a leader, or step up and help my fellow classmates, or when I was doing my internships and they were saying, okay, you're going to be teaching these people and coaching these people in their parenting skills, or when I was working with teens and after school programs and group homes, and really being that mentor and counselor for them, and instilling those things back in them, that was modeled for me. And so I was able to give it. And so absolutely, I agree that, really fostering that and helping those young people to figure out what their strengths are and showing them how they can utilize them and share them with the world is absolutely one of the best gifts that we can give to them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love that. That is huge, to empower the next generations. And again, I just want to highlight you and say, look at you, look at what you're doing with your life, because you were empowered. And so kudos to all those that did that for you, but also to you that you kept stepping out and stepping out. And so fast forwarding a number of years, You are out of grad school, you're working in the elements, you still have your own business, you're helping so many people. And I wrote down just these notes that you worked in. Just listen to this, y'all. Trauma cases, court cases. You said that and with pain, people that were in physical pain, as well as addictions. Holy smokes, like a full gamut. So a person might think of a therapist and just say, okay, yeah, they're a therapist, they help people deal with their stuff. But this is a big, large group of people in vast different areas of their life. Like somebody struggling with pain, it's different than the addiction. When there is a court case that is mandated that there is counseling for a child, or maybe for to be reunited, or to help them deal with not being reunited, or whatever. This is a big deal to be able to do all of that. And then plus dealing with trauma, which could be anything from, PTSD to who knows what. So you have this wide variety and just huge of expertise. And then on top of that, you're running a consulting and coaching business. Oh my goodness. You are Wonder Woman, aren't you? You need that cape and all of that flying behind you. So how did you end up connecting with Apostle Deborah?
Well, that is a great story, because what happened was, like I said, 2019 was the year I decided to start. Well, I decided at the end of 2018, but I really got going in my private practice in 2019. And that's when I started working virtually. I had a mentor who was a behavioral psychologist and hypnotherapist, who was one of my professors, who was working virtually with people all over the world. And I knew I wanted to do that. I knew that I needed to make a lifestyle shift because, like you said, might have been Wonder Woman, but at the same time, Wonder Woman needs a break. Even Wonder Woman burns out. And I had that stress of working with all the court-ordered cases. And then I had the fun and the passion that I had in working with women in business. And I wanted to put those two worlds together. Like I'd mentioned, I thought this is such a good way for me to step back from the stress and the demanding hours, right, that I was working with those court-appointed clients, and to really work in my passion and in my joy and take better care of myself, really, to take some more time for myself. And so when I started working virtually, I was approached to be on a national speaking tour. Now, the fun part of this is that Les Brown was going to be on that speaking tour. And I was so excited because I remember I'm in Washington, and I remember several years ago, maybe 7 or so years ago, going to downtown Seattle and seeing Les Brown speak. And I actually think I worked at one of the little, tables helping out, and I was watching those speakers up on the stage and thinking how incredible that was, but never thinking that that would be me. And it just opened so many doors. I was approached to be on that tour, and Apostle Deborah was there too, and we just connected. And so when the opportunity came up for her to be the visionary for her first anthology that she was compiling, she invited me to be a part of that. And so that was Fierce Women Roaring into Purpose, From Pain to Purpose. So that was my first book, first time ever co-authoring. And so we got connected there. And that is how I got into the book that we all just did together with Women of Power Ignited to Serve, and how we met. And so it's been an amazing journey of just doors opening and one opportunity leading to the next one.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So you meet Deborah at an event.
Yep.
And you guys become friends in this friends in the sense of, business and ministry and whatever. So you stay connected. And then she reaches out to you about being involved in her prior book project.
Yes.
Were you an author or a writer at that time?
I wasn't, I'd done a lot of writing in school. That's for sure. I did a lot of writing. And when I was younger, I did more creative writing, but I never really pictured myself, being an author and writing these kinds of stories. I hadn't really identified with that yet. But when she invited me, this is such a good time, right? Such a good time. It was, over 2020 going into 2021. And I had decided last year in 2021 that it was going to be the year of yes, that I was going to say yes to anything that sounded fun. Honestly, that was my agenda that year. After doing that first speaking tour, opportunities started coming my way. And I said, you know what, if it sounds fun, I'm going to do it. And I just jumped and I said yes. And I trusted Deborah and said, okay, I know you're going to walk me through every step, which is one of my favorite things about being a part of these anthologies is you're not doing it alone. You have that support every step of the way, that you're sharing that success, you're doing it together. And like I said, I trusted her and I'm so glad that I did, because now it's, again, led to so many things and so many amazing people that I've been connected with and so many stories that I never would have heard and connected with had I not been a part of these books.
Man, that is so cool. How awesome is that? Now, you said a couple of things here I'd like to circle back to so that I don't forget. Number one, you said a couple of times timing. It was the time. It was a divine time. It was timing. So timing is important to you. I think timing should be important to all of us. But why is that important to you?
I think in the moment, a lot of times we can't see it. I call it the snow globe with my clients. You can't see when you're in the middle of the blizzard with the snow globe. If you're living in the little village inside of it, you can't really see what's going on at the time. But when you can step back and see it from the outside of the snow globe, you can really see the sequence of events and how things really led in to each other. I had no idea when I was starting that business and going to grad school and met my husband. I had no idea how my life was going to unfold and what was going to happen. But now that I look back on it, I can see how everything unfolded just the way that it was supposed to in its own time. And so I love that I can now stand back a little bit. I have a little bit more perspective. I have a little bit more of that awareness of, when I say yes to these things, even if it's expanding my comfort zone a little bit, that these opportunities don't come for no reason. That when I say yes to those things, it's going to open a door to something else, or I'm going to learn something that I was supposed to learn from that, or I'm going to become stronger or better for it, no matter what happens. Whether I love it, then I'll find out I love it, like I did with writing and with speaking. Or if I don't, then I'll know I don't like it. But for me, those opportunities have come where I never would have be where I am right now had I not said yes to them in that moment. So really for me, that timing and listening to my intuition, and when those things come, to surrender to them and to say yes, instead of saying, well, I never saw myself as a writer, I never saw myself as a speaker, or I'm scared to speak in front of that many people, or maybe I'm not ready for that. Me just releasing all of that and opening myself up to it and saying yes is showing me now that things come when they're supposed to.
That is so spot on right there. Things come when they are supposed to. I love that. Now, as you kind of walked us through that, a couple of things that stuck out, I would say they fall under, I should say, the category of self-care. And I can tell that self-care is important to you because of some different things that you've said. But one thing that just really shot out to me as you were speaking was investing in yourself, utilizing these gifts, saying yes to the project that you want to get into and do is a form of self-care. That is what I'm hearing you say. Do you think about self-care? Can that be part of self-care? You know, I'm looking to you with that therapeutic background as well as that coaching consultant background. Can self-care in your mind, can it be attributed to these other areas for us to be able to step into these new possibilities?
Absolutely. Self-care is not just a bubble bath. It really isn't. You know, self-care comes in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. We're whole people. And so you can look at self-care about, you know, finances and taking care of yourself financially. You can look at self-care as taking care of yourself physically. You can look at it as taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally, but also fulfilling, right? Finding those things that fulfill you, finding those things that bring you joy and bring you peace. You know, when I was in the midst of taking care of everyone else but myself, and someone asked me a question, they asked me, what brings you joy? And I couldn't answer it in that moment. I knew that was a problem. And I think a lot of times that happens to us as women. We lose our identities, or we lose who we are in that connection and taking care of ourselves, because we're doing everything for everyone else. And so I said, okay, if I can't answer that question, I need to look at this. What used to bring me joy? What am I not doing now that has in the past? Maybe we'll start there. You know, even if you have to look back to childhood, did you like to dance? Did you like to sing? Did you like to play games? What did you like to do? You know, looking back to that, for me, I started there. I started at that point, and that's what took me on that journey of, okay, I need to take care of myself, and I need to do some things that are going to be fun, that are going to stretch. You know, I believe in, you don't necessarily have to step all the way out of your comfort zone, but just expanding your comfort zone a little bit. You know, finding things that you enjoy. I love connecting with people. And so when I went virtual, I was like, okay, I need to find ways to still connect with these people and to be able to help others. And so for me, even though I never thought that writing and speaking was going to be part of who I was, I found out that that fed that connection. And for me to be able to reach more people, I was able to do that. And for me, that fulfills me. And so that really is taking care of me, because I'm fulfilling my purpose, and that's something that does bring me joy. So yes, I love to dance, and yes, I love to spend time, you know, outdoors, and I love to do all these things, but also my work, you know, letting that fulfill me and having that be something where I can take care of myself as I'm taking care of other people. For me, that was the ultimate. So yeah, I absolutely think we can utilize self-care in every single area of our lives.
That was full of like mic dropping moments, as Les Brown says, drop the mic. Okay, so I've never heard anybody say what you just said, and that is fulfilling your purpose is self-care. Oh my gosh, that is a profound statement. Do you guys hear that out there in our virtual land? Answering the call on your life is self-care, because you're never going to be truly happy until you're doing what you were created to do. And you recognize that, Jodie, and you were like, hey, I am so happy and joyful helping others. And that's brilliant that you sat down and was like, giving yourself permission to dream is what something that I would tag that as. And you weren't maybe dreaming so much like, oh, my future, but what used to give me joy, and daydreaming about that, and then giving yourself the freedom to experience all of that and begin to do it, whether it was that Calgon moment of take me away into the bubble bath, for those of you who don't know what's Calgon, but also to do what is on your heart to do, to fulfill your purpose, to dance if you want to dance, right? Whatever that is that gives you joy is self-care. And I can see the bouncing ball bouncing here in your life, because you went from doing what you were doing, having your business, starting your own practice. You've got now connecting with Deborah, connecting with Les Brown way back when, not realizing what was going to be happening this year.
Yes.
Future, but connecting them with Deborah, getting in her book, getting into the book that her and I visionary together. And then, of course, there's another book that you are involved in as well. I think the name Les Brown is like at the head of that. I know we're talking about Ignited to Serve, but you got to give a little pitch because this is huge. Self-care, doing and fulfilling your purpose. And you are an author in a book that is Les Brown's book, not just something he's put his little stamp of approval on. So tell us about that, and then we'll circle back to Ignited.
That sounds great. Yes, absolutely. I am so thrilled because I was able to take all of those things that I loved. And that's really when I decided, okay, I need to take better care of myself while I'm taking care of these people. You know, what are the things that I love and that bring me joy about my work, and kind of leave the rest, right? And so for me, sharing in these books is sharing how I did that, you know, how I was able to find these opportunities and take them and learn the lessons along the way. And for me to, like I said, the ball bouncing, be able to be in a book now with Les Brown, he said, headlining, and to be able to share my story in a deeper way of how I was able to step into my own greatness. It's called The Greatness in You. How I was able to find my voice and use it to share with others. You know, that is one way that I found that does bring me joy, that I can fulfill my own purpose through that. Like I said, you know, do what I was designed to be here for. And I'm so excited to just have that next project, right? That next chapter, to be able to reach so many more people because we're in this with Les Brown. It's just such an incredible project. I cannot wait for it to come in the fall.
Oh, I know, it's so exciting. And hearing your story from, what year was that you were in Seattle and you saw Les Brown? What year did you say that was?
I think it was about 2015, I want to say, somewhere in there.
So 2015, you go to this conference that he's speaking at. You work in one of the tables, being the great little helper. You meet Deborah. 2 books later, and many other things, you're now one of Les Brown's authors. You'll be dubbed that for the rest of your life. That'll be part of who you are, one of Les Brown's authors. That's amazing. And I'm circling back to it over and over again, y'all, because it's self-care. Some people would think that's selfish. No, it's self-care when you are answering your call and you're living out your purpose. And I love how you separated what you loved from what you don't love. When you are doing what you love, then you're going to be happy and you're going to be joyful. And then you can start to, I say, eat the hay and spit out the sticks of the other stuff that's around you. You can start to make different decisions like you have done. And so you're an author in one of Apostle Deborah's first book projects, excuse me. Then her and I come together. We're like, oh, Women of Power, Ignited to Serve. And in fact, she had the idea. And she came to me and she's like, Pamela, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yes, I would love to run with you. And we took off with it. And that's how I met you. So was that an easy decision to say, yeah, I need to be in this book too? Or were you like, I don't know, I've already done one. I don't know if I want to invest in again and write some more. How did you come to that decision? Because you made it fairly quickly. It wasn't something that you talked to Deborah about, and then like 6-8 weeks later, you're like, yeah, okay. You made a decision rather quickly, which I kind of get an unction about you that you do that. That if you're ready to do it, you're not gonna hem-haw around. You're just gonna do that. So I think that's kind of who you are. You can give me some feedback on that. But what happened that brought you to this place? You're like, okay, I'm ready for book number 2.
Yes. Well, the first experience was so good. It was a phenomenal experience. It truly was. And again, I really trusted Deborah because of that first experience. And when she said, this is something that I'm going to do, as her publishing company's first book, she was going to have her hands in it from the beginning until the end. I just had such a good experience that I said, you know what, let's do it. And I have been approached for several different kinds of projects now. And honestly, I sit with it for a moment. I said, I'm a decisive person. Absolutely. I would affirm that I would rather just go with my gut, because the only time that I run into issues is when I second guessed myself in the past. And so for me, it's like whatever that first answer is that hits my heart is the right one.
Yes.
And so she shared with me what the title was going to be. And what I have decided to do as these different projects have come my way, whether it's speaking, writing, is really think about the theme. And if an idea of, okay, this is what I would write about, this is what I'm going to talk about, and it comes to my heart, I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen. Let's do it. And I resonated with the title, and I thought, you know what? Absolutely. Talk about, stepping into your power, like being ignited to, serve others. And for me, I decided to talk about embracing our strengths and how, I was able to identify through some of the things that we've discussed here, through some of the experiences throughout my life, what my strengths were and how I learned how to embrace them as strengths, as my own unique gifts and talents, and to be able to build those out so that I could serve people better. And you said it's not selfish, it really is self-care, because taking care of yourself and building up your own strengths and stepping into your power means you can serve others as your best and highest self. And so when I had that come to me, I thought, okay, I need to tell this story, and I'm in.
Wow. Again, just hitting the nail right on the head tonight, Jodie. Like self-care is important, because then you can take care of others better. I mean, that's my vernacular of what I pulled away from that, what you said. But oh my gosh, if we would take more time to do that, how much more effective we would all be with all those that are put into our life, one way, shape, form, or another. Incredible. So you touched a little bit on your chapter, but can you give us a little bit more of a peek? Just peel back the layers a little bit more for us.
Absolutely. So my chapter really, like I said, it's called Embracing Your Strengths. And it really does touch on why it's so important to figure out what your individual strengths are. Because we spend so much of our lives comparing ourselves to other people, wishing we had their strengths, thinking that our strengths aren't good enough, or that we don't have good strengths, or that our strengths are actually weaknesses. Sometimes we don't even realize what they are. And when I ask anyone, but especially women, tell me something good about yourself. Tell me something you like about yourself. Tell me something you're good at. It's really hard for people to answer that question. And so I thought it was very important to tell this story about how can you identify and pull out what those things are that are going to give you clues towards where you are supposed to be going here, right? What your purpose is, why you're here. Your strengths can give you a lot of clarity around why you were created to be here and what purpose are you serving. If you don't know what that is, or if you want more clarity around how you can fulfill that, really embracing and building and growing in your strengths can help you make that happen. And so that's really what my chapter is about. So I tell my own story, but then I do give tips on how others can do that for themselves and stop playing that comparison game and start really just looking inside to see what talents and abilities were you given and why.
Yes, I can see that. And your story would lend to that. So people reading your chapter, they're going to learn a little bit more because you're pulling back the covers a little bit further
Mm-hmm.
so that they can see some more, hear some more, be able to know what you've been through, and to know that, hey, she knows what she's talking about, right? And so you're giving them all those tips that we all need those tips. Come on. We need those tips, those jewels in our toolbox. We need them to help us along the way. But I wrote this down. You said, embrace your strength. But then you said, many people don't even know what they are, and especially women. Like, how we say that, embrace your strength. But if you don't know what that is, that you're just like fish out of water, right? And then you can feel so inept, unproductive. So what about that woman that is saying, I don't know what my strength is? What would you tell her if she was right here in the room with us today?
Go back, look at what other people have said. We discount a lot when people give us compliments and they say, oh, you're really good at that. Or, you know, that just comes so easily to you sometimes that you don't think it's a big deal, right? There are going to be things that come so easily to you that you don't even think about it, but you don't realize don't come as easily for other people. So, you know, look at those things. You know, what are you naturally good at? Now we're in the past. What have other people said that you're really good at? You can take strengths tests online too. So you can definitely, you know, look at those things. There are great books on strengths. You can go and take those tests. You can ask other people, you know, what do you think I'm good at? You know, what are those things? What are you just a natural at? So start just looking at some of the evidence around you, and then look at what can I do with that, right? What do you enjoy doing? And then what are you naturally good at? And try to marry those two together. And say, how can I serve people? You know, maybe you love connecting with people. Wonderful. You know, maybe one of your strengths is connection. You know, for me, I had the natural strength of empathy. You know, I was always that person that people would come to and tell their stories, even if I didn't know them. You know, I would just have random people come up to me when I was waiting for food, you know, and start telling me their stories, because that was just radiating out of me. You know, maybe it's something like that for you. Or for me, I'm a big includer. I love including everyone and making sure that everyone is taken care of. Nobody feels alone or left out. You know, that could be a strength that you have, but you don't think about it because you just do it naturally. So ask people outside the snow globe, and then maybe do some of those tests. I think that's a great place to start to really objectively look at it. Because again, subjectively, it's hard for us to look at the things that we're good at. But when you start looking at it from the outside perspective, you can really learn more about what that is, and then start looking up what kind of strength is that? And what can I do with that? How can I serve my community with that? How can I serve my family with that? How can I, you know, put that into my career? You know, try to look for ways that you can utilize those strengths in what you're already doing.
That is fantastic. And all I could think of was what an inner morale booster, you know, within, right? As you're learning your strengths and then utilizing them, feeling good about it, helping other people, feeling good about it, validating that you're operating in your strength, realize that that's connected to your purpose, your call, the reason you're here, validating you as a person, building your confidence in your ability that's God-given to change lives here. That is so powerful, Jodie, that you also said, ask this question: what can I do with that? You're going to be able to ask yourself that question as your confidence is building in who you are and how God made you and all those experiences that come along with you. Then to be able to say, what can I do with that? And then to start to do that. That is, you know, you just dropped like some golden time bombs here tonight. These have been amazing. So with this book project, if I could ask, what was like your favorite moment in it, or maybe a God moment, an aha moment? Is there something that will stick out to you as you move forward from Ignited to Serve, but you will always remember that part?
I loved the build up to the launch, with everyone lifting each other up, everyone supporting one another, everyone cheering each other on and connecting, because we were in it together. To me, that was just the culmination of all of the work we did, because we actually don't talk about our chapters with one another in these anthologies before they come out. We read each other's chapters when everything comes out. And so the fact that everyone had similar threads running through, right? Similar themes running through their chapters. When we were all coming together, you really see through all of our stories and through that launch and how we're lifting each other up as women to success together, you see how much more we have in common than we ever will have as differences. And this is a global book. So there's women from all over the world, and we all connected so strongly. And I think that will stay with me forever. It's just those connections. I've been having conversations because of that with authors. They say, I just finished reading your chapter. We need to talk. We'd have these conversations about what do we have in common? And oh my goodness, I went through that too, or I'm going through this and that really inspired me. Just really incredible to see that all come together and culminate in this amazing project that was so incredibly successful. We're just all so proud of it, and we're proud to be in it together.
It just makes my heart go pitter patter, flutter, flutter, because as a visionary, and I know I speak for Apostle Deborah as well, to hear those stories of the lifelong relationships, friendships, partnerships that form, that is what you're carrying away from it. That's just like, that's the most precious words to hear. Then, oh, nice book collaboration. Like, that is to me the awe and the wonder of it all. Yes. To be part of a global book is something. To make use of the global book is another. And that's what I'm hearing from you and what you're doing. And again, totally goes with who you are, working with people.
Yeah.
That's right. It
plays right into my strengths, that's for sure.
Sure does. And you're so good at it. You're so good at it.
Thank you.
So with the time that we have remaining, tell us anything else that you didn't get to pour into us. We want to hear it. And then make sure you tell everybody where they can follow up with you, how they can purchase the book from you.
Okay. So I just want to share with everyone that's listening that you are enough. You were created for a purpose here, and you are enough just as you are. And so really, truly, please focus on the growth, focus on the progress and the journey. There's no one that has arrived. Right? There's no one that is perfect. There's no such thing. And so really just look at yourself, look inward versus outward. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because you are so special and unique exactly the way you are. Your brain works just the way that it is supposed to. Everything about you is so special. So I want to encourage every single one of the people watching or listening really to just embrace their own strengths, embrace your strengths, and go out there and know that when you take care of yourself, when you really honor yourself, you can give other people the overflow. Stop giving people your leftovers. Give them that overflow of everything that you're pouring into yourself, so you can give them your best, absolute best. So if you are interested in connecting with me, I would love to connect with you as well. My business is called Psyched Up Success. And so I have some amazing resources. You can book a free call with me, download my free guides at psychedupsuccess.com. You can absolutely go there, or find me on Instagram or Facebook, also under Psyched Up Success. But I'm just so grateful to be here. And I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Pamela, for having me here today. It was such a wonderful conversation, and I'm so glad that we were able to connect through this incredible book.
Oh my gosh, this has been absolutely amazing. And I think we have the episode title for you today, and that is You Are Enough. When you said that, I wrote it down and I circled it. That's what all of this that you have been talking about this whole time is coming back to: being the authentic you. What makes you happy? Living your passion. What are your strengths? You are enough. Wow. So incredibly powerful. And everything that you shared about how to reach out to you, all the freebies that you're offering. Did you guys hear all that? Freebies out there. All that you're offering, it's all listed, everybody, and in the description with all the contact information for Miss Jodie. So all you need to do is look, and you'll get all that you need. Now, I'm so grateful that Miss Jodie was here today, and I know you all are grateful too. So will you do her a favor? And you're doing me a favor as well, but you're also doing other people a favor that you've never even met yet. Would you like and share this interview? Like it and share it, as Mr. Brown always says, Mr. Les Brown. Like it and share it. Somebody out there that you know and people that you don't know need to hear this message. Oh my gosh, it's been so rich and so full. So share it on social media. Share it in an email. Tag somebody in it. It's so easy today to share a message. You know, we're not mailing, cassettes and CDs and in the mail to people. You just have to simply send it. So let's help take this story viral all around the world. Her story needs to be heard. There are people that are praying and right now saying, send me the answer. Oops, excuse me. And the answer is going to come through this story here today. So like it and share it. Jodie, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Thank you again for having me. It was an amazing experience.
Oh, so amazing. Thank you again. And thank you everybody who showed up right now to right now. I appreciate you. Love you all so much. Remember, you are here on purpose, with a purpose, by design, not by default. So go out there and be the salt and the light everywhere you go, because you are enough. We'll see you next time on Right Now. Bye.
Calling all coaches. Join Dr. Pamela and doctoral candidate Deborah Allen in their new anthology, Coach Doctors, bringing their specialty to the table. They're signing authors right now. There are very few spots available. Get in contact with Dr. Pamela now through social media, or email her at hello@purposewithpamela.com for more information. Ascend Above the Crowd is the newest course by Pamela Hinkle. Ascend is a self-paced email course that will come directly to your inbox and will change your mindset and your life. Each week, you will receive lessons, resources, challenges, and journal writings that will help you discover your purpose by design. It's your time to ascend above the crowd. To learn more about Ascend, go to www.purposewithpamela.com/ascend.